This week on the Andrew Yang podcast.
Everybody's angry at the system being broken in some capacity, and almost everybody is poor. And there's a lot of where this, the root of this is coming from. We're just pissed off.
Yeah, so a study came out recently that said 60% of Americans have trouble affording a decent standard of living. Almost half are stressed out about housing costs. Almost half are stressed out about groceries. And so if you're living under this constant cloud of stress, then it's very easy to be ticked off and want someone to blame. Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying your Labor Day weekend. We are going to be answering listener questions this time, brought to you by our very handsome co-host, Zach Grauman. You know him, you love him.
I'm back. Feeling good.
Yes.
It's good to be back.
Yes. So first, let's just jump into the questions because people ask them and answers are here. And Have I reviewed these questions? Maybe not.
I don't know if you've seen these.
Yeah, I might not have.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
I will say this, for those of you who send them, we get a healthy amount, but we almost do all of them at some point. So flagging, we do read them. As long as they're not trolling us, we do usually use them. Okay. Let's dive in, Andrew, and we'll probably catch up along the way. First question is from Benjamin. This is a pretty good one. There's a lot of harmful rhetoric being spouted by the right, such as stereotyping immigrants and vilifying the left. However, I've also seen a lot of similar rhetoric coming from the left, how everyone who voted for Trump is a Nazi, how the Republican Party and its supporters are fascists, et cetera, et cetera. As someone, Andrew, who is friends with people on both sides of the aisle...
Thanks for noticing.
I like to think myself too, try to be. Do you think... I'm friends with you, I don't know what you are. Do you think this rhetoric is harmful? And if so... how would you suggest combating both right-wing and left-wing rhetoric in an effective manner? If speaking out against both becomes isolating, how would you suggest dealing with that? Thank you, Benjamin. Good question. What do you think?
Yeah, thank you, Benjamin. I do think it's harmful whenever you describe a large group of people in a particular way.
Yeah.
So if you say something like Republicans are fascists, you're like, wait a minute, you just described... let's call it 80 million Americans in a particular way. Yeah. And it's handy in the senses it seems really certain. But I find that stuff noxious and tribalist and corrosive, and so I don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's true on both sides. I mean, clearly the right and the left are going a little hog wild. And hopefully if you keep up with me, you see I don't parrot that stuff. I don't amplify it. And so the counter to this, my opinion, is that I don't think it's useful to be negative, and I don't even think it's useful to be negative about a negative. So in other words, if someone says, hey, all Republicans are fascists, and then you go to them and say, all Republicans are not fascists, there are a lot of variety.
Anyone who says that is an asshole.
It's not. It's just not very useful or productive. So what you do, or what I do, is just try and call attention to various things that most people can agree on in terms of, in my opinion, the majority of both Democrats and Republicans are upset about income inequality or wealth inequality.
Yes.
The majority of both Democrats and Republicans are upset about AI and automation. The majority of both Democrats and Republicans are upset about the expensiveness of healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can just go down the line and be like, hey, and by drawing attention to these things, hopefully you put pressure on both people to be like, my name calling might feel good, might get me a few extra likes.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, that's 90% of this problem is that it's a social media incentives
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Angertainment.
Yeah. What'd I say? Hatertainment?
Yeah, that's close enough. Fine. I mean, it's pretty close.
Angertainment's right. Yeah.
So if you just try and spotlight an actual issue or problem that most people are like, oh yeah, that is a problem. I mean, one of the things I've been going on about lately is Americans don't socialize or party enough. Americans are on their phones too much. Yeah. And as a parent, I'm as guilty of it as anyone, where you look up and you see your kids on screens and you're like, oh no, get off your screen. And then they're looking at you squinting because you have your smartphone out all the time. And I'm just like, oh. And then of course I could give some BS thing being like, oh, when dad does it, it's important. And when dad does it, it's work. But it's kind of nonsense. And by the way, that's a very unifying message. If you say, maybe we should put down our phones, maybe we should look at each other's eyes more and stuff like that. I mean, that's not a partisan thing. I mean, the problem is that the parties now rejoice and revel in this tribalism, and they score the most points that way.
Yeah.
It's one of the dangers now is that the Democrats, and I'm going to flag Gavin Newsom just because, it comes to mind, or even this gerrymandering fight that people are having, is that if I say, hey, I'm fighting the other side, then my team gets really excited.
Yes.
If I say, hey, there are excesses on both sides, then my team looks at me and is like, you're not the fighter.
You're not on our team. Yeah.
Or you're not as strident.
Oh, yeah. You're not a warrior.
And interestingly, you see different approaches based upon just where they are and their district and their community and the incentive structure. Like, our friend Jermaine Johnson, for example, he's a Democrat in South Carolina, but he's very positive and unifying.
He works with Republicans all the time.
And I think that his incentives are in that direction because it's like, hey, I'm in a red state. So if I was just like, Demi, then people are like, oh, congratulations, you have 39%.
Yep,
and
congrats.
You're stuck there. So you see different people adopting different things based upon the structures around them.
Right.
So Benjamin, I think that it's not leading us in a good direction. And if you can just try and lead by example around your favorite issues, I mean, one of them could be democracy, or primaries. Yeah. Then people will look at that and like 9 times out of 10, like neither party's really doing a great job of whatever the heck you're actually making a case for.
I have 2 thoughts and a question for you here. One of my takeaways when we ran for president was everybody's angry at the system being broken in some capacity, and almost everybody is poor. And like is a lot of where this like the root of this is coming from. Like we're just pissed off.
Yeah. So a study came out recently that said 60% of Americans have trouble affording a decent standard of living. There are other studies that say almost half are stressed out about housing costs. Almost half are stressed out about groceries. And so if you're like living under this constant cloud of stress, then it's very easy to be ticked off and want someone to blame.
My other comment was very rarely, I was saying the vast majority of people are not Democrat or Republican on 100% of issues. And it's important to have friends it's even important to have friends that are super Demi or super far right, because you'll find that, and even yourself, you're like, I consider myself a hardcore Dem, a hardcore Republican. You probably got a little bit of Democrat in you. Like a lot of Republicans really would love good public schools. They'd want to send their kids to a good public school. That's
a lot of Democrats would love for streets to be clean and safe.
Yeah, right. So there's like, and so it is very gray, even though the social media world is black and white. So I think I've learned a lot by hanging out with people on who are not just both sides of the aisle, but people that are far on one end and the other. My question for you, when you were running, when you talked about Trump, you talked about him as a symptom of a bigger problem. And you were very proactive in not vilifying Trump supporters or even Trump the man at times, but really the underlying problems that got him elected in the first place. Was that intentional for you or just kind of naturally how you talk? I'm very curious on how you landed there, because it's something you and I leaned into when we were writing speeches and things like that, but it's not something you and I sat down and like proactively discussed. I think it came natural for both of us, but very natural for you.
Yeah, I have family members who voted for Trump, I think twice. So, trying to vilify folks who voted out of frustration a lot of the time.
Just people you loved.
And like never struck me as sensible.
Yeah. And
in our case, I think it was just expressing what one naturally felt. I think it was Bill Maher who said, like a number of months ago, he said, look, you can't just like give up on half the country. Yeah. And I think just about anyone who's a comedian or travels senses that, because if you perform at a club, there are people of all sorts of
if you go to Deep Red, Ohio, there's still some liberals in the audience,
Yeah. And obviously vice versa.
yeah, for sure. Okay, Benjamin, thank you for that question. It's a good one and timely. All right, this next question is from Jay. Thank you, Jay. The question is, that's a good one. NBC News reported in June that the number of independents and third-party voters are growing. Can we conclude anything from this reporting? And how do you think our current systems will respond to these changing demographics? And basically, the graph and study showed was basically in 2000, 44% of Americans were Democrat, and now that's down to 37%. And Republicans somewhat stayed flat, 33 to 31. And then independents were at 23% in 2000 and now at 32% and climbing.
Yeah, I've seen even higher numbers for independents. I've seen 49%. I've seen 50%.
Yeah, me too. It was a lot.
And I've also seen, and everyone agrees on the trend. And everyone also can agree on the downward trend for the major parties. Last I checked, the Democratic approval rating might be 29%,
Yeah, it's not good.
and Republicans are right there at 33%. So you have more and more Americans being like, "Yo, neither of these parties is doing a great job, and neither of them really represents me or speaks for me."
Right.
And I think you're going to see more and more candidates that reflect that. With Mike Duggan in Michigan is one of my favorite examples, who just had 200 electeds and former electeds of both parties come out and endorse him. And he has the potential to short circuit the two-party system in Michigan as the 3-term mayor of Detroit, which is the most populous city. And he's objectively turned that city around, where they went from shrinking to growing. They went from businesses disinvesting to expanding. And so you're going to see more and more people like Mike Duggan, like Dan Osborne, who's running for Senate as an independent in Nebraska, because that's where a lot of the voters are. I feel like those two candidates are just like the tip of the spear, and that they're going to be a lot more like them. You also have various figures like Congressman Don Davis in North Carolina, who's a Democrat, saying like, I'm happy to align with the Ford party and be a Ford Democrat, because they sense that. And in his case, he's in a swing district in North Carolina, so he's like, I have a feeling that this is going to help me, not hurt me. So what a lot of political figures are going to sense is that expressing some degree of independence from their party is going to help them in their district, because more and more of the people they talk to are like, yo, I'm not actually keen on the party that you're a part of. And they're like, no, don't worry. I mean, I've got that next to my name, but like, I'm all about the people and the policies, and I'm very, very reasonable. Thank you, listeners. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, send them to mailbag@andrewyang.com, and we'll do our best to answer them. Thank you.
Do you think this gets harder because nuance is tougher to sell? You know what I mean? To me, when I hear you talk about this, it's like every candidate case by case basis. Some like they got a strong Dem base, a little more right leaning state, they got to blend. Others are the other way around. Some are like their Dem credentials suck, but they can get all the independents and not piss off the Dem. Is it?
Well,
what's the challenge
some
here?
of the most reasonable sounding people you can find are either red state Democrats or blue state Republicans. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I'm a Republican in Massachusetts, like Mitt Romney was.
So you have to be a good operator.
Yeah, then they're just like, look, guys, like,
Andy Bashir,
I've got this party next to my name, but like, that's not really my jam.
Right. Yeah.
And because if you're a red state Democrat, then you're encountering Republicans and conservatives like everywhere you go. And so people have to be cool with you. And Andy Bashir is a fine example, who's the governor of Kentucky. Yeah. It's like that. Those folks tend to be very, very pragmatic and results.
I was wondering these sort of single party states, purple states ish, where it's red versus blue, right? That nuance gets a little easier as opposed to in some of these primaries. Like you've been branded in the media as, and literally in the same publications, as too far left, like crazy progressive, out of the box, give everybody money, to not Democrat, not lefty enough, where you're too conservative or bro culture or recruiting far right nationalists to support your campaign, whatever the hell they pray. Like I've seen literally both on you, and what has been crazy to me is every time anyone listens to you talk, you're like, I actually just think it's a rational human being, generally speaking. Do you think your answer changes depending on a primary versus a general, when it's RVD versus like Dems or Republicans fighting alone?
We're going to find out, because they're going to be, let's call it 28 Democratic primary candidates for president. And a lot of them are naturally very up the middle, but then they're going to be communicating with Democratic primary voters
find the lane,
in New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, Michigan are going to be the early states for that crew. Yeah. And so they're, you already have folks seeing which terrain that they're going to stake out in like the stealth primary or the ghost primary.
I love it. Okay, this is my question, but it's a good one. Speaking of stealth primary, Gavin Newsom has been, I'm going to say, tweeting up a storm. And I think he's one of the first Dems who really at least demonstrated to understand the attention economy. Bernie somewhat, but he's basically just trolling online.
He's adopted the Trumpian.
Yeah, and he's been. I mean, he started by tweeting in all caps and blah blah blah. And
thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yeah. And honestly, it's relatively funny.
It's relatively funny,
and it's a brilliant move, I think, because no Dem has dared touch this. And if anything, I mean, Amy Klobuchar had an AI video come out of her like saying something ridiculous about Sydney Sweeney, and you can look it up if you want a good laugh. And she went as far to apologize for that, like on the record, being like, "No, it wasn't me. I would never say something like that," as opposed to leaning in, which is what Gavin's doing. Curious your thoughts on Gavin in the upcoming races, but also like the role or the need for Dems to start getting taking a few more plays out of the Republican playbook when it comes to campaigning.
Yeah, so I've got a very big thesis in this direction, and I've written something to this effect that will probably come out early next year at the latest. But check it out. There are 3 modes of communication. There's political communication, which we're all used to. There's comedy, insult comedy in particular, which you can sense both parties are trying out in various ways, and Trump is actually a high-level insult comic.
Trump is funny.
Yeah,
like,
Trump tests out insults.
He's objectively funny. He was a funny reality
Hillary,
TV star.
Sleepy Joe, Little Marco,
his stuff
Meatball Ron.
And he's like naturally, his comedic timing's good.
Yeah, I mean, he tried them out on crowds, and then he's like, "Ooh, that clicks," and then he just lets it out. People remember each of these insults
when
because
he told Hillary,
stick.
because you would be in jail. Like, if you remember that clip, which was famous during a debate, funny. You may hate him, that's fine, but still funny.
And then the third mode of communication is pro wrestling, which is
that's your third lane.
No, that's the third lane. So number 1 is political speak.
Yep.
Number 2 is insult comedy.
Yep.
And number 3 is pro wrestling.
And this is like the entertainment. Like, is it only pro wrestling, or is it apply to other things?
Oh no, so Trump, by the way, is a WWE Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He was a WrestleMania villain in the whole thing. And so if you look at the rhetoric from Trump and from various pro wrestlers, it's very similar. I'll just like, I alone can fix it. If you don't vote for me, you won't have a country anymore. I mean, like these are the kinds of things that pro wrestlers would say. Pro wrestlers constantly hyping themselves up. Trump is like a self-hype machine. And Democrats are really bad at the self-hype thing
2 and 3
because they're supposed because they're all supposed to be like, no, I'm humble, which is the opposite of the pro wrestling persona, and they're generally not funny at all. And so the fact that Gavin Newsom is adopting this, it is pretty funny, it's pretty amusing, and it also kind of has this braggadocio self-confidence element. And Gavin, I've spent time with, Gavin and a lot of the other Democratic contenders. And Gavin could talk sports with a straight white man and it would not seem excruciating.
Let's call it alpha energy.
Like, he might actually be a fan, not
he's somewhat
not
of
like
a real
the pretending.
person.
Yeah. He's winning. He's like a tall, handsome dude.
Very good guy.
That has genuine political talent.
Yes, his debate with DeSantis, like, they both got good jabs in, but they were toe to toe, generally speaking.
So the fact that Gavin is now able to access to some measure communication modes 2 and 3 is highly unusual for a Democrat and opens up a whole different universe for him in a way that someone like 90% of the other Democrats couldn't pull it off, and if they did try and pull it off, it would be a dud. This podcast is sponsored by Helix Sleep. I am powered by sleep. I don't know if you are too. I reasoned years ago that if I invested in a mattress that made me feel refreshed and energized, I would get the value back many times over. And Helix Sleep has been that for me and my family. I have an Ultra Dawn firm mattress because I like a lot of support, and I wake up refreshed, energized, ready to tackle the day. Don't take my word for it. Go to helixsleep.com today. Take the quiz, see what mattress would be best for you, and help yourself wake up the way that you want to feel. Go to helixsleep.com/yang for the Labor Day sale, 27% off site-wide exclusive for listeners of the Andrew Yang podcast. That's helixsleep.com/Yang for 27% off site-wide, exclusive for listeners of the Andrew Yang podcast. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/Yang.
To your point from before, if the parties have equal-ish approval ratings or declining approval ratings, and neither of them can really govern, then communication is essentially all that matters. And then I was thinking about this. I was thinking about Obama. He was one of the best in the world at 1 and not bad at number 2.
Obama was pretty funny. If you look at some of the White House correspondence stuff, and his more recent talks, he has tried to be jabby, humorous.
He's a funny guy. He's not funny. W was probably one of the funniest.
So I think Gavin's got a lane for himself and then some, and he's got genuine talent. I mean, when you're with some of these Dems, and there's something the press when you like this person, that person, be like, have you actually met that person or seen that person? Some of these people are really not very good.
No, I agree when they talk about him.
And then, so Gavin will be there the whole time.
Yeah, I think if I was his comms director with him, I would be telling him the only way he wins is it becomes like the bad boy of the Democratic Party, and he could probably do it. He just becomes a troll online. He's got a bunch of cheating scandals with his wife, etc. He just leans in I'm an asshole. I don't give a shit. That could probably work because people don't really care. They want their bills cheaper.
Well, he sat with a lot of very conservative voices and podcasters and whatnot. So he's definitely going right up to the line. Yeah, and he understands it. He's also trying to distance himself from the entire California jam.
Yeah, that's the other way. If he just leans in I don't give a shit and trolls anyone that makes fun of him, that'll be better than having to run on a straight record because California's it's a very liberal state, He's going
to seem very pugnacious, and that's going to work
good for
a lot of Dems.
I don't know if it'll work, but it's good for him.
It's good for him. By the way, the Dems of South Carolina seem to respond very positively to him, and I think that they're going to. That's going to be true everywhere he goes. Gavin's an impressive human.
He looks like.
He looks like president of Central
Casting.
You'd be
happy, Thank you for that question. We got sidetracked. This next one's from Colin. This is fun. I'd love to get your Andrew. I'd love to get your take on Mondani's win over Cuomo in New York City. Do you believe that this is a turning point for the direction of the Democratic Party moving forward, or do you think this is just an isolated event because of New York City's already progressive lean combined with the ranked choice voting in the primary? Thank you, Colin. Great question. I'd love to talk about this.
Thanks, Colin. So first, ranked choice voting did not make a difference in this primary because Zoran just got more votes in the first round. So no matter what system you would have used, Zoran was going to win that thing. Now, what lessons can you take from it? So these are broad numbers, but Zoran, let's say he got 550,000 votes to Cuomo's 450,000. This is a city of 8.3 million or so. So 550,000 might be 6.8% of the vote. And so you had a Democratic primary that is highly unrepresentative of the average New York City voter. It's an off year. It's a summer primary. Now, Zoran won, and he won by getting an extra, let's call it broadly speaking, 100,000 new voters to the polls that were generally on the younger side and generally on the, obviously further left side.
Yeah.
And if consultants drew this up, by the way, this is a joke I told, but it's true. It's anytime you're losing, what you say is we're going to grow the electorate.
Yeah, as we do.
And
these voters that normally vote, we're going to have more than them. They're going to come from elsewhere.
And then most of the consultants are like, that's total bullshit. You're not going to expand the electorate.
The press might write that for you. Yeah.
And then Zoran actually managed to do it. He
got more young people.
He in real life got an extra 100,000 people to the polls.
Yeah.
So what that's going to do is a lot of people from that wing of the party are going to be like, oh my gosh, I can pull the same thing. And so you're going to have a lot of folks challenge incumbents from the left of the Democratic Party.
Yep.
There's going to be some more energy and resources for them objectively. And so you're going to have feistier races on that side. Now, imagining that this is somehow a sea change for the party, you're looking at a very specific environment in New York City. And again, 100,000 extra voters is a lot in the context of this primary, but 100,000 voters might be an extra 1.2% of New York, of New Yorkers. showing up. And Zoran would not, so like a Zoran type figure, wouldn't win in a lot of other environments. Even in New York City's general election, if it was just Zoran versus, let's call it Andrew Cuomo one-on-one in November, he might not win that. I do expect Zoran to win because he's running against Andrew Cuomo, Eric Adams, Curtis Lewa, who's going to get 15 to 20% of the vote as the Republican, and Jim Walden. So if you have a four-way race and they fragment the non-Zoran vote, then Zoran probably wins by double digits.
Yeah.
So you need a lot of things to break right for a Zoran figure to win one of these races.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to make too much of it, but it's going to end up fueling a lot of folks who want to try and follow the same playbook. By the way, I also want to say Zoran is very, very talented.
Yes.
And it's going to be hard for a person in a random congressional district to light a fire.
Correct.
In the same way. It'd be tough in the average congressional race.
One of the mistakes that Democrats make a lot is when we see, let's call it an outsized success. I don't even mean victory. So let's call it, Obama is a victory, AOC was a victory, Zoran's a victory, but even others, you or Pete or say Bernie, right? And we say, we got to just need more people follow the AOC playbook. We need more people follow the Zoran Obama playbook. Some things can be pulled from it, sure. But the vast majority of the time, it just stems from having a good candidate. Like all the people I just mentioned, AOC, Obama, you, Pete, Zoran, they're all really talented candidates. They have political talent. If you watch Zoran speak, he's articulate, he's smart, he has a message, he has a why and why he's running, he's got a great brand, and he doesn't fuck up. He says he gets put in all these twisted situations with the press, with the crowds, and they handle it well. These guys are good candidates. So that's generally why you perform well. And I think the mistake is to say, we just need to repeat what AOC did. We're like, what worked for AOC works. She's a talented candidate.
Well, a lot of the candidates you're talking about too ran into a high oxygen environment.
Mm-hmm.
And the average congressional race is not necessarily going to be a high oxygen environment because there's not going to be a ton of local press covering it.
No one talked about AOC until she won. So that's just one example. But I guess the rest of them were all like,
you could see there even in that cycle there might have been.
There was a little more hype for her though down the stretch, certainly. Sorry.
But she's very talented. But there were let's call it half a dozen to a dozen candidates trying to do the same thing that cycle and the next cycle and couldn't do it.
So I think,
but you're going to have more people attempting for sure.
For sure. And I also think the Zoran thing to me is he's obviously smart, he's talented. I think ignore some of the left policies that folks can disagree with. To me, I think he'll be fine, maybe above average. The bar's pretty low. He got to run against two objectively bad candidates right now. Eric was a good candidate till all the baggage. So therefore, maybe bad mayor.
Well, he wasn't even in the Democratic primary.
Yeah, that's fair. And then Cuomo is a bad candidate. Cuomo has massive baggage. You end up, you're running one of the biggest operations on the planet objectively. And so, young person never done this before, going to make mistakes. And it's New York City. I just saw this Instagram reel on the number of times New York City got raked over the coals by real estate developers. And that's the thing. If you're the city, you're negotiating. You want to build affordable housing in New York City. Who are you negotiating with and for and around the area you're trying to build it? The smartest, wealthiest people on the planet, the real estate sharks in Manhattan. You're going to get, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get screwed. And who pays the bill? You and I, New York City taxpayers. So I think that's probably the biggest hesitation you have. But I live here. I'm a root for him, frankly.
Yeah, I did a write up. After
blog
he
post
got
is good.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to look it up, if you just Google Andrew Yang, Zoran Mamdani, I think you'll probably find it. This podcast is sponsored by ExpressVPN. How did you choose which internet service provider to use? The sad thing is, most of us didn't have much of a choice because ISPs operate a lot like monopolies in the regions that they serve. They then use this monopoly position to take advantage of customers, and yes, they even sell your data, your activities to advertisers and big tech companies, and you don't see a dime. That's why I protect my internet surfing and devices with ExpressVPN. When you use ExpressVPN, it's like a magic portal to a perfectly safe and anonymous internet. And don't take my word for it. This is the #1 VPN service according to CNET. It's used by major companies all over the world. So stop handing over your personal data to ISPs and other tech companies who then mine your activity and sell off your information. Protect yourself with a VPN I trust to keep my privacy online. Visit expressvpn.com/yang. That's EXPRESS VPN.com/yang to get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/yang right now to learn more.
Here we go. This next question is from Kristen. She says, according to a recently released report from MIT about AI, 95% of generative AI pilots at companies are failing. So pilots at companies are failing. And the technology is too inflexible for large companies or workflows. In addition, energy prices are increasing around the country due to poorly regulated data centers being built in communities already struggling to meet their needs. Do you believe, as I do, we are seeing the beginning of an AI bubble ready to pop? Or do you think that tech and AI companies will continue to grow unchecked, hoarding and pilfering our precious energy and water resources? Thank you, Kristen.
You know what's funny is this is a question from Kristen, but I think that our producer Daniel might agree with a lot of it. He might have picked
Thanks, Daniel. We love you.
No, it's fine. And Daniel's a creative, and a lot of creatives are, let's call it AI dubious.
For sure.
As they should be. Yeah. I mean, so I think two things can be true at once, and it reminds me of just about every other major investment hype cycle. So if you remember, and I'm old enough to remember the .com boom.
Yeah.
So then there was a period when anything with .com in its name, pets.com, whatever the heck, went to the moon. And then hype bubble burst, and it turns out that that there were excesses. But then did the internet end up changing businesses? It did. Now, you ended up with a correction, and then the new reality maybe took a little bit longer. So the last figure I saw in terms of the investment in data centers and AI among the big tech companies in the US, plus some public expenditures, was something like $500 billion and counting. And it's going to go to $1 trillion, probably, because the more these companies are investing, the more their stock goes up. Mm-hmm. Truly. If there's a major company that decided to sit it out, they're probably getting pummeled.
Yep.
Now, I think there are going to be a lot of companies trying to figure out things with AI. And let's say the first pilot doesn't work, the second pilot doesn't work. The issue is that eventually the pilots will work because both the models get stronger and your ability to make use of it gets better. And I talked to CEOs, and one of the things I posted on X went viral, which kind of surprised me. It's pretty funny what goes viral on X.
It's random, man.
Where a partner at a law firm told me that AI models now can perform better than a third-year associate in preparing a brief for him. And that it used to take that third-year associate a week to do this brief. And then when he looked at the brief, it's maybe it's useful, maybe it's not. Now, what he does is he puts it through 2 or 3 different AI models and then conforms and has sample brief in an hour. And then he has to check it and conform it. But then that might take him an afternoon.
He was already checking, though.
Yeah, he was already checking. Yeah. And by the way, and as someone who was a corporate attorney in a past life, so when you're a first-year associate, you don't know much of anything. And you're essentially learning on the client's dime. And that's true for the second-year associates, too. And then by the time you're a third-year associate, you're sort of break even or positive. But now there's going to be very little incentive for them to be why do I have a first and second year coming along that I'm billing out at? And so that they can just look up to their clients and say, hey, guess what? We're not doing that anymore. And who's going to be left out in the cold are the new law school grads being hey, aren't you going to hire 50 of us this year?
Entry-level jobs are getting hurt pretty
bad. Yes. So I don't doubt that there is a lot of learning associated. By the way, this partner at the law firm said that this wasn't true last year, that the models got better in the last year. So you spend $500 billion on these models and associated speed and data processing. And then companies will have to do some trial and error to figure out how it's going to facilitate their processes.
Right.
But they will figure it out, just like my friend at this law firm has figured it out. And so I think that the corporate efficiencies are going to get realized. And there's just like a lot of nonsense going on in these companies that you can automate. I had a friend who runs a major consumer brand saying that he's going to replace 1,000 consumer support reps with 50 plus AI.
Yep.
And when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, because this is like, in my opinion, he's like a fairly moral, above average corporate leader. But he looked at it and said, I don't have a choice but to do this. And so you look, do I think there could be a pullback in
There's
stock market valuations?
Almost certainly. We're
and
hype
like
everything.
the hype cycle, like totally. Like it would not surprise me in the least. But just like the .com, if you close your eyes and then open them 10 years from now, like are things fundamentally different as a result of the technological advance? Yes.
Yeah.
And AI models are doubling in speed and power every 7 months.
Yeah.
So you can look at it and say, oh, it didn't work this year, but then it works next year.
Yeah.
And then, and then you replace 1,000 workers.
Right.
I mean, like I talked to the CEO of a publicly traded tech company who said he cut 20% of workers this year. And then he's like, honestly, like we're probably going to cut another 50%. I talked to someone else who was like a VP at a major bank and said that they think internally, they can't talk about this publicly, 60% of workers gone within 3 years. So like, the stuff is, they're going to get it, it's like
it's a UBI argument for sure.
I mean, you look at like, I'm someone who is a believer in part because I think that a lot of these companies have a lot of extraneous people doing things that are totally automatable.
Yeah. Well, that whole thing's terrifying.
Yeah, dude, I'm stunned at how quickly it's coming. So I feel bad. Kristen's obviously posing a question, being like, "Hey, is this all bullshit?" And then
it's probably not.
And then people are like, "Oh, no, it's real." I mean, I have enough friends who are running these corporates to know. I mean, like one person, random business, was like, "Look, we used to have 6 people who were just there to suggest designs." And then we just got rid of them, and now like there's one person just be like having AI, and it like spits out 20 times as many designs.
I think we'll have our first like multi-billion to trillion-dollar publicly traded company run by one person.
Fascinating, probably.
Crazy.
Maybe not one. I'm thinking you might be able to pull it off.
One or two, like two like good AI prompters, and I don't know, man. Like this is where we're going.
I mean, I think
5 years from now,
maybe. I would believe 20.
Okay.
1 or 2 strikes me as extreme, but maybe like I
mean, some of these crypto companies, I guess, would already check that box in some sense. But yeah,
there's another thing too. It's like, do we get our first trillionaire? And the answer to that is probably yes.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Summer is here, everyone, and where do you not necessarily want to be? Slaving over a hot stove cooking food. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready to eat. Just heat them up in a few minutes, and you will be eating fresh, healthy food in no time. I'm not much of a cook. I enjoy getting my meals. It takes a lot of consideration, and I don't like to think very much. There are a number of things I don't like to do. And when you get a Factor meal, you know it's going to be tasty, healthy. My favorite is the horseradish encrusted chicken. And I have to say, like, you can tell the meals are healthy even as they taste great. You know that sweet spot? That's what these meals hit. Get started at factormeals.com/yang50off and use code yang50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code yang50off at factormeals.com/yang50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/yang50off.
All right, we're going to talk about something fun. 2 fun questions. This might actually be from our producer.
He's like,
from Daniel.
All these people are fake.
There's just Daniel made them all up. Favorite movies of the summer so far and why? I got a couple takes.
Yeah, no. And so Zach and I actually tell each other like various movies. We saw Sinners
movies
together,
Yep.
which was...
Sinners was all... Well, I had some takes on, but I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah.
Sinners, I mean, geez, what a ride. It was a genuine work of art in a major feature film. You're like, holy crap, I haven't seen that in a while. I enjoyed Superman a great deal. So first, let me preface this by saying, if I'm borderline on seeing a movie, at this point, I probably see it. if it's appropriate for my kids who are 12 and 10 now.
So Superman was an easy one.
So yeah, exactly. So here's my reasoning. I'm trying to have my kids grow up to be awesome humans. And at this point, even them sitting for a 90-minute to 2-hour film is something of a victory in terms of like them paying attention and maybe getting some messages and whatnot. So if it's borderline,
you're right.
And I can take the kids, so I'm like, all right, am I going to take them to see Superman? Yes. Am I going to take them to see Fantastic Four? Yes.
Yep.
I randomly took them to see Naked Gun, which is
I heard it's good,
which is PG-13.
Yeah,
and it was they both liked it.
Okay.
One more than the other. So of the summer movies, I actually thought this was a good summer for movies. And Sinners was a little bit before the summer, but I really enjoyed Superman.
Yep.
I liked Fantastic Four. I would recommend Naked Gun, and I'd also heartily recommend F1. Did you see F1?
I haven't seen F1 yet.
If you like Top Gun Maverick,
I bet it's
it's like Top
fun.
Gun Maverick in race cars.
Which
made
is
me
a win.
It made me think they could just keep on making these
just like intense action movie where it's like
it's not just
the cameras in the car,
but it's also this kind of middle-aged masculinity exploration. You know what I mean?
Like how old can you still be an active action star?
but it's done in like
I get it.
in like a mature, productive way. Because one of the things that people complain about, like Star Wars, is that you bring back our heroes just to shit on them.
Yeah.
And then Top Gun Maverick was the opposite, where it's
they
like
brought
Tom
him back
Cruise
to make him even cooler.
where he's like, look, I actually showed the young bucks that like I still got it. And F1 had a similar dynamic.
Got it.
And so,
cool.
Like I was just thinking to myself, I was like, can you do it with boats? Can you do it with like whatever? Like we just bring back kind of the grizzled veteran.
Got it.
And the grizzled veteran then actually has a lot to share and demonstrate and can still do it. Obviously I think someone might call them dad movies or whatnot. It's clearly as a dad. Yeah. Like, by the way, at F1, did I take my kids? No. Cause like it was
probably, was it R?
It might have been PG-13, but it was a little long, and I wasn't sure that they would dig it. But I enjoyed the heck out of it and would recommend it. I didn't see was Mission Impossible, which I'm going to see on demand when it comes up.
I would recommend Mission Impossible. It's not the best Mission Impossible, but those movies are awesome. It's just generally like, what cool action stunt can Tom Cruise do? And they've got him underwater in a submarine with like torpedoes bouncing around and he's swimming around. It's pretty cool. I would say I liked Sinners. Like in terms of like, I'm going to go to the movie theater or spend the money on it. Like Sinners is worth the money. I had some issues with it, but I generally thought it was pretty awesome. I just saw Weapons, which was mind-blowing. Like a mind-blowing movie. There was a plot hole, I won't spoil it here, that I disliked, but worth every penny. Like just so cool. Because
cool. Weapons isn't kid-friendly, I was like...
don't take kids to see Weapons. I mean, it's scary for adults. It's like... I went with my sister and she's like grabbed my arm the whole. It was terrifying. It was like jump scares.
So for those of you who follow me and whatnot, I'm not really a horror fan as part of it.
Yeah, it's clever. I mean, it's a little more horror than Sinners, but it's clever. As opposed to like gore and like The Conjuring, that stuff. You gotta like the horror to like
cleverness generally. What's an example of a horror movie that I was totally cool with and enjoyed?
Get Out. That's kind of, I don't know, it's horror, but like. It's closer.
I enjoyed Get Out.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I mean, it's not really horror, but it's sort of psychological.
I'm thinking of like the lines. Like I enjoyed Sinners.
Yeah, and I saw Barbarian, which is the same director as Weapons, which is a little horror too, but very good.
I generally am pro vampire, werewolf, monster type stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So like my anti-horrorness. I mean, like I'm into fantasy and sci-fi, so like that stuff I'm into. But then, like out and out horror, generally no.
Yeah.
I used to like back in the day, though no one would think of this as horror now. And it's like M. Night Shyamalan movies, like that stuff.
Good summer for movies. I agree. Movies are almost back. You know what I mean? I don't know if Marvel's back, but movies are back.
I hope they're back. I love movies.
Yeah. I want Hollywood to keep going. You know what I mean?
I want Hollywood to keep going.
I don't want them to be streaming all the time, Oh, what I recommend? K-pop Demon Hunters. I can't believe you don't watch this. You watch it with the kids?
Well, no. I'm saving it so that we can watch it as a family. I'm actually friends with some
movie. Fine. Soundtrack. Awesome. I mean, it's first female pop group to have #1 on Billboard since Destiny's Child.
I'm actually friends or friendly with some of the voice casts, so we definitely need
fantastic.
to do it. But I've been waiting to get
Golden, all of them,
the family together. And the whole
oh
thing.
my gosh, so good. I vibe to
I'm
K-pop.
embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed by my love for it too.
I know I'm embarrassed that I haven't gotten
to
it yet.
You should. Your kids will like
well,
it.
Part of it too is like Evelyn too, where Evelyn wants to watch it. And we
you
got
to time it up. But time it up. It's good. I mean, it's the number 2 movie in Netflix history. They just approved a second and a third and a live action sequel, and it's in movie theaters right now for a sing along, which that sounds miserable, but I'm sure if you have kids and they like it, it's probably fun.
I'd probably bring them to that.
Yeah, they might. If they like to sing along, looks like a bop, dude. Last question. This is from Molly. Thank you, Molly. We love you. Are you and Zach watching Hard Knocks featuring the Buffalo Bills? Going into the start of the new NFL season, who are your favorite teams, and what is the sleeper team you are going to keep your eyes on? NFL predictions.
This could be fun for everyone. I have watched Hard Knocks Buffalo Bills in part because we're going to a Bills game.
Oh, yeah, we're going.
On September 28th. So if you're in Buffalo, we will see you there.
By the way, one of the best sports weekends coming up. It's like really good college football Saturday, and it's the Ryder Cup weekend. It's going to be a good sports weekend. Plus the Bills, obviously.
So I'm a Giants fan. I actually think the Giants are going to be surprisingly competent this year.
Right.
I mean, playoffs, who the heck knows? Tough schedule, but I think there'll be some solid improvement. Bills will be one of the favorites. Sleeper team, geez. I don't think it's the Steelers. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers believer after seeing what happened over there, across the way for the last couple of years. Giants
overperforms, not a bad sleeper. Maybe they sneak into the wild card. Tough schedule though. I got a really tough schedule.
Yeah, I mean, them making the playoffs would be a mild shocker, but I think they have some good young talent. I'm excited to see the Bills in action. So again, if you're up there, you'll probably see me and Zach walking around
for sure.
End of September.
Well, come find us. Maybe we'll do an event.
I might do an event. Might do a tailgate.
Buffalo's my happy place. I'm going for the opener, and we're going again on the 28th. As we say in Buffalo, this is our year. It's always our year. And then we lose a heartbreaker in the playoffs. But we'll be good this year, I think.
That was something heartwarming about Hard Knocks, where you can really see the connection between the team and the community.
Yeah, the team and the city. I mean, how do you not love Josh Allen? I freaking love that guay.
Yeah, it's true. I hadn't seen as many interviews with him until Hard Knocks.
I think
he seems like a really nice
teammates
guy.
love him. There's a clip in Hard Knocks where they spend camp for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, where it's all you're doing is seeing people for 3 weeks. And then I guess not even 48 hours later past, he texts the team and he's like, I miss you guys. You guys want to come over for a barbecue or something? He's like that. He's like the teammate. And he's fun to watch. So I love Josh Allen. I think my sleeper pick's probably the Denver Broncos. I think they're going to be really good this year. Honestly, I'm optimistic because someone needs to beat the Chiefs up in their own division. But we'll see. The Patriots will probably compete for the wild card this year, sadly. Who knows?
I'm enjoying this Patriots down there. It's fun.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
I mean, it could be over already. I mean,
we're down there. Mike Vrabel's a good coach. We're gonna find out. But anyway, that's our NFL recap with
we'll
Andrew
see you
and
in
Zach
Buffalo.
Grauman. Go Bills.
Keep the questions coming, and we'll keep answering them.
Yes, sir.